Welcome back to the Black Report. This is the space where we inform, inspire, and educate. A recent survey conducted by Apartment List found the best cities to find love during the pandemic is Austin, Texas, followed by Boston, Virginia Beach, Miami, Las Vegas, San Antonio, and San Diego. I am not surprised Los Angeles is not on that list. Now, where do you not want to try to find love during a pandemic if you're single? Hartford, Connecticut, Cleveland, Ohio, and Jacksonville, Florida are the three worst cities. I'm sorry, put LA in there as well. Those three cities were deemed the worst for dating during the pandemic, and less than 15% of singles reported being satisfied with their dating lives in those cities. The methodology broke down as such. Apartment List accounted for dating satisfaction, outdoor satisfaction, and percentage of singles with dating satisfaction making up the bulk of the weight with 50%. Outdoor satisfaction scored 30%. And percentage of singles scored 20%. How's everybody's love life going? Since we're all here in LA.
Give me space right
I don't care what state you're in. If you outdoors and you not in a mask, that's just not a good place to want to find a date. But I'm shocked that Las Vegas is on it, but LA isn't. And why are you hating on LA?
Not the married man.
Because I live here, Romeo. Because I know.
Stay in the house.
Yeah.
Wait, Brooke, you saw my face?
I did see your face.
What love life?
It's a sad state of affairs
Love
going
life?
on over here.
What is a love life? Someone explain.
What
Because
is that?
Amazing.
I knew this was going to be fun. All right, here are the headlines for today. The Food and Drug Administration says the Moderna vaccine is highly protective against severe cases of COVID-19. This opens the door for emergency FDA authorization and the start of getting it distributed around the country. FDA scientists found it 94% effective. The evidence will be discussed during a panel meeting of independent experts Thursday. If you look at the timeline of the Pfizer and BioNTech vaccine, it seems the FDA could grant emergency authorization for Moderna's vaccine as soon as Friday. The FDA found the vaccine was effective across all races and genders, and that's similar to the Pfizer vaccine. Both Pfizer and Moderna developed their vaccines using experimental mRNA technology. They also both rely on 2 doses to be effective. Moderna's must be taken 28 days apart, while Pfizer's second dose is given after 21 days. Side effects included chills, injection site soreness, fever, headache, and fatigue, but most did not last longer than a day. The FDA says there appears to be some protection against COVID-19 following 1 dose, but there wasn't enough information about longer-term protection beyond 28 days after a single dose. And so, by the way, those side effects are similar to a flu shot.
Yeah.
We've gotten plenty of flu shots. I thought this was interesting today. Dr. Fauci actually said that he thinks Joe Biden and Kamala Harris need to take the vaccine, get a shot sooner than later. Also Pence and Trump, although Trump has tested positive and has antibodies to some extent. They do not know how long they're going to last. And so he says the current president of the United States needs to get it as soon as possible, too. Joe Biden was asked about that. President-elect Biden, was asked about that earlier today. And he said he's going to take that advice and he's going to make sure to do it on TV. On camera, in hopes of inspiring people. There was something.
Lead by example, yeah.
Exactly. There was something interesting about COVID because, we've been talking about, we know that people can get really, really sick. We know that, we're trying our best to protect ourselves against getting this. Something interesting I saw, the head of White House security, the head of the White House Security Office, he suffered a horrific case of COVID-19. His foot and lower leg had to be amputated.
Oh, my God.
A horrific case. What's interesting, he now has a GoFundMe set up to deal with healthcare costs and things like that. Bloomberg reporter Alex Wayne says the White House isn't saying whether Trump has given any money or donated, because this person who essentially right now is working for Donald Trump has a GoFundMe set up to help him to take care of his healthcare and all of his costs. And they did kind of look online, and the largest anonymous donation is $700. So, it's
very interesting.
Yeah.
And that's very sad. I mean, it is. We have to take it serious, soulmates. It's happening all around us. And look, what I like about Moderna, like the fact that it's 95% effective, that's what they're saying, right? But I do know they go ahead and have some vaccines released today in Chicago, which was pretty awesome by Pfizer. But they did mention something about Moderna that under 18, they don't want to have them taking the shots yet.
Right.
We talked about that earlier today, and that shows some concern. Why is the age difference? That's
There's just not enough data.
You know what I'm wondering about the vaccine and the length of time in between the first and the second one, whether it's 21 days for Pfizer or 28 days for Moderna, is what are you supposed to do during that time period, that, in between? Are you supposed to continue to quarantine in order to not catch COVID
Right.
during. They haven't. I think
You
that
are.
Yeah. So
and you're supposed to even after you get both doses, because what's interesting about what we know is that 95% effective, which is really confusing, but it means that it can't attack your system, but they're
Right.
not sure if you could still spread it. If the vaccine
Exactly.
prevents you from spreading it, which
Right.
is really confusing because
Yeah.
it's like it's either in my body or it's not.
Exactly.
But the
Well,
vaccine can protect you from getting sick, but they're not sure if it protects you from giving it to someone else. So
Passing
we
it along.
still,
Exactly.
even getting the vaccine, have to go through all the same
Right.
precautions that we're doing right now.
Well, yes,
Crazy.
because that's actually one thing that I was thinking about too as well, Brooke, is like it could still be on your hands. It could still be, because it's, we don't know how it's transferred. So that's the scary part. But Dr. Anthony Fauci just added one more thing, just as for everyone, it doesn't substitute the normal standard public health measures like wearing a mask, keeping your distance, avoiding big crowds and things like that. So I just wanted to stress that even though if you might be getting the vaccine, whatever way, it doesn't substitute wearing a mask and things like that.
Please stay masked up. You have to. A black man has for the first time spoken publicly about the beating he says he received at the hands of a white Louisiana state trooper who was recently arrested in connection with the incident. Authorities say Trooper Jacob Brown pummeled Aaron Bowman with a flashlight 18 times in 24 seconds during the May 2019 encounter. Aaron Bowman stood on the steps on Monday of the Louisiana State Capitol during a news conference with his attorneys. They are calling on officials to release the body camera footage and to immediately fire Brown, who has been charged with second-degree battery and malfeasance charges. He has not commented publicly in this case. Again and again, we have this happening over and over. Here's a man that, from what we're seeing, if you've seen the video, he was in his driveway. Thank God they had a camera at the house so they caught the footage, right?
Right.
I think when something like this happened, the police department has nothing to hide. If you think there was reason for you to act that way, release the body cam footage ASAP. When you don't, you're already suspect because you're making us, as people on the streets, feel like you're trying to create a story. Is there any dirt on Aaron Bowman that we can create? How can we flip this and make it look bad?
Right.
What's looking bad is the police department.
Every single time, I like that, you bring that up. Every single time, the police department always, and in so many of these cases, will fight hard to keep a hold of this body camera footage. And then we've seen cases in the past when we finally get it, sometimes it takes years. And when we get it, it's horrifying. It is never like, oh, no, it was just investigative purposes. There was something, you just reminded me of something that happened today, a story that broke today about a woman in Chicago. I think I wrote her name down here, Anjanette Young. She had to go to court in her instance to get body camera footage released. She had to go to court. It took 2 years. And the video showed a bunch of officers using battering rams to bust into her house. Broke into her house, she was naked, and they stood there looking at her naked body, asking her questions for a very long time. The front of her body was completely uncovered. She said 43 times, "You have the wrong house." Guess what? It turns out they did have the wrong house.
Unbelievable.
But it took 2 years to get the body camera footage. A black woman in Chicago, and here we have a black man in Louisiana asking, and it's likely going to take a long time. You think, why in these instances do police and the mayors in some instances, why do they help?
You're telling lies. And there was multiple police officers that were there that held this guy while he was doing this to him. And he wasn't arrested, and they found nothing in his car. So what are we talking about?
But Romeo, what was the probable cause that they even...
Traffic stop.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, and he's in his driveway. He's home, and he has to go through all this. Imagine getting that close to being home. That story's happened too many times. We've told it too many times here on the Black Report. It's not fair.
Yeah, I totally agree. All right, guys. Now, President-elect Joe Biden and Vice President-elect Kamala Harris will take their oaths of office outside the U.S. Capitol building as inauguration planners seek to craft an event that captures the traditional grandeur of the historic ceremony while complying with COVID-19 protocols. Biden's team released a few details for the January 28th event on today, saying that they're moving forward with plans, even without confirmation from outgoing President Donald Trump on whether or not he will be in attendance. The ceremony's footprint will extremely be limited, and the parade that usually happens will be reimagined, Biden's inaugural committee said in a statement. Now, after the swearing-in ceremony, Biden will deliver an inaugural address that lays out his vision to beat the virus, build back better, and bring the country together, the statement said. The inauguration will seek to keep some of the traditional events of the elements of the event while adding new pandemic-era aspects. The committee is turning to the same production team that handled this year's Democratic National Convention. Now, one of the features from the convention that may be incorporated is the virtual roll call from every state, but it's still unclear of what traditional inaugural events, such as the luncheon, for example, with members of Congress, or the pre-ceremony tea with the outgoing president, if it will happen at this time. I've been telling you guys over and over, my sources, they have been just texting me like crazy, wondering if I want to go to, go out there for the inauguration to support our soror Kamala Harris. But I'm just not really sure. It just doesn't seem like I was out there when Barack Obama, and it was with my mom, and I just remember being out there in the mosh pit. But like Brooke, I know she's ready to remind us it is a pandemic right now. Number one,
it won't be like that. That's
right?
sure.
And so I'm just kind of like, do we want to waste the money? Not waste the money. To be, I don't know. What do you guys think? Is it even worth it to go out there and experience it?
You going out there, you're not going to see it any different than how I view it, because
right.
it needs to be virtual, right?
Yeah.
If there's anything going on live in the streets, it probably Trump trying to have a rally on this day to take the attention away from this, which we hope doesn't happen.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But I don't know if that'd be a good idea for you to go. Honestly, you still got to get on the plane.
I might be here with you guys. I do have to get on a plane.
Like 6 hours in the air.
I know, that's a long
Especially,
time with the mask.
this means so much to the Black community, and you don't want it to turn into a super spreader event that helps how harmed we are being, how bad we're being hit by this virus.
Right. Yeah. And I really like the way that Joe Biden has been handling everything from, the 100 days of mask wearing and, closing everything down, because I really feel like Donald Trump, if this was him, I feel like he would just open up the floodgates and let thousands of hundreds of people still come. Like, I like that Joe Biden is definitely handling everything for the American people in a safe way. Responsible, yes.
Yeah. So, Demi, you like the fact that we now have some competence back in the White House as the leader of the, the free world,
Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely.
Okay, yeah, I think we also do.
I think we all do.
Could we do this, a couple years down the line, just have a meetup and have kind of like a redo?
Maybe.
Yeah, when everyone is
I'll be
healthy.
okay with that.
We could just have our own inauguration party here, right here. We'll just have it here.
I'm down with that.
I love